Oh, that's connected. Hello? Hello, hello? We're back. It's Monday. We're back for the next day of the stitch along. So we finish on Friday. We don't have very much left to do, to be fair, okay? We're almost done. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a choice because I'm just so generous. But I'm going to give you a choice because I know that what we're going to learn today, not everybody likes to do. It's not difficult, but it is intimidating. All right. And that is turkey work. And I love teaching turkey work because it's a little repetitious. It's a little bit difficult because you need to pay attention to where your needle is going and you need to pay attention to how tight and how loose you pull your stitches. So yeah, it's really good fun. I really like it. But I drew the pattern like this because if you get to the end of the video and then you decide, I hate that, I really don't want to do it that way, then what you can do is just not do that. And instead you can follow the petals like this and do them all in a satin stitch. Okay. So that's why I was saying, if you want to, you can do the turkey work like we do today. And if not, you can just use, how I've drawn it to fill them in. Okay. I hope that's making sense. But you basically have two options with this. So obviously the first one is the turkey work that we're going to do today. And the second one is satin stitch. I would do probably 4 strands or 6 strands. You can kind of see for the small ones, I would do 3 for satin stitch. But we've already done that, so I'm not going to show that again. Today we're going to do turkey work. So what you're going to need here is you're going to need 6 strands. Okay. You're going to need your needle. You're going to need a pair of sharp scissors. So like the sharpest ones that you've got. If you have any kind of like embroidery curved scissors, this is not the time to use those. You need like straight, nice, sharp scissors. And you also need a comb or one of these little spoolie things that Jamie T gave to me. They're really, really great for turkey work to comb out all of the threads and make them nice and fluffy. So you definitely need like a comb if you've got one. If you don't have one, you can use the eye of your needle. It'll just take a little bit longer, that's all. Okay? Oh, someone's shouting. Don't like that. Okay, so let's snip a little bit of this off. We're going to thread our needle, but we're not actually going to do a knot on the end. Or a toothbrush. A toothbrush would be great too. I didn't even think about a toothbrush. I don't even think I have an extra toothbrush that I could use. Okay, so you're going to thread your needle like this. Yeah. Don't put a knot on the end because actually we're going to start from the top. So normally when we start our embroidery, we start from the back like this. This time we're going to start from the top like this. Okay. I'm going to zoom in really closely and I'm also going to probably over explain it like I always do. But I'm going to explain a little bit more because it is a little bit, you kind of have to think about it a little bit more than when you do just like a regular satin stitch or a different stitch. So we're going to start with this big one in the middle. And what you're going to end up with is a 3D threads coming all the way out, all the way around. Okay, so let's just make sure this is nice and tight. Zoom in like this. And we're going to go around in a circle. So what we're going to do is start on this right here, and that's why we've got a little ring here, because this is what we're going to fill in. So you're going to start at the top like this. And you're going to leave this little tail. Now, I like to leave mine a lot longer than I'm actually going to make them. And that's because if you're trying to faff about, like say I want them to be that short, if you're trying to faff about with holding just this tiny little bit down all the way around, it's going to be it's going to be difficult only because it's so short. So if you've got a lot of the color that you're going to use, just make them longer, and then you can trim them kind of like you trim like your Barbie hairs. You know, if you were one of those people like me who like to cut all the hairs off their Barbies, give them a little trim. So you can always trim just a very little bit off the end until you get them the length that you want them to be, but you can't really make them grow back. So if you make them too short now, you kind of have to take it all out and redo it. So I like to keep mine longer. All right. And what you're going to do is you're going to go across this one. So you're going to go just a little bit over to the left, and you're going to make a little tacking stitch. Yeah. And I want to make these pretty small. I'm going to make this first round a little bit bigger than I want to, only so that you can actually see how to do it. Okay, because I don't want to get so small that you're like, excuse me, I'm very confused. So far, all we've done is gone straight through the fabric from the top, and we've come up on the left. Now you're going to go down on the right of it, and it's going to make like a little T, like this. Like a little upside down T. Okay? Now the next part, you're going to come up almost right where you came down the first time to make that first little fringe. Some people like to split their, like go up through this as well, but I just do it like that and it seems to be fine. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit confusing, where people are like, well, now what do I do? Because I've done one. Now you're going to continue just like if you were to do the very first one. Okay, so hold your little loop like this. You're going to go down just a little bit farther along. Just pretend like we've just started again. And again, this is where you kind of want to keep them about the same length. But if you can't, then that's fine too, you know? I like to hold mine like this. And then just like we did before, you're going to go up to the left of it. Try and keep these as small as you can, these little stitches. Like I said, I'm making mine bigger so that you can see it. Okay, so try and make them small if you can, and still understand what you're doing, if you know what I mean. Yeah? And now, just like we did the first one, you're going to come up here. And do your loop. So do one stitch forward. So we're just trying to keep these about the same length. This one up. Cross it like this. And then up like this. And you're going to do this all the way around the circle. So if they're not all the same, if your loops aren't all the same length, then that's... What have I just done? I just pulled it tight, didn't I? I love how easy your explanation is making the seam. Never tried it before because it always sounded hard. Always try. Always try. Yeah, why not? Okay, so you're going up again. Like I was saying earlier, you can split this if you want to. So some people like to go in the middle. Some people like to just go just right above. Like this, almost the same hole that you went down. You know, if you do split it, it's not a big deal. Don't take it out and redo it or anything like that. It's totally fine. Okay, And then as you work your way around, you're going to end up with all of these loops, okay? So what we want to do is try and fill up this circle here, this little ring. And I'm just going to, this is the ring I'm talking about, all this green. Okay? If you can. If you can't, then that's all right too. Or if you get one loop around and you're like, I'm finished, I don't want to do this. Then just do the one loop. That's okay too. All right? Turkey work. Yes, Nem. Turkey work. So we're going to get a nice little fringe flower. A little 3D right in the middle. So let me just turn this because you heard me say before, I'm really bad at working upside down. I don't know why. I probably should do it more often so that I can like train my brain to like work in different ways, you know? So you want these to be quite small. The smaller your stitches are, the smaller these stitches are here. Okay, let me just be a little bit more clear. The smaller these stitches are here, okay, the more dense your fringe is going to be. So if you look right here, how they're quite big and spaced apart, that's all where your fringe is going to be. It's going to be like that. So in the end, we're going to cut all of these loops. So you need to be very, very, very careful. Cut your loops off. Yeah, I like to do like the haircut thing, you know, so you grab them all and you hold them up off your embroidery like this, and then you can snip, 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 snip. Then we're going to brush them out, just like brushing Barbie's hair. Yeah, brush them out. And then you can do your final trim with your really sharp scissors if you really want to, or you can just leave them long and out of control. You can trim your garden however you feel fit, okay? Take that how you take that. Take that as you will. Yeah, Nem, you totally should try. He says he's too scared. Just try it. You'll like it. Heather's laughing at me. But it's very true. I'm not here to tell you how long it should be, okay? You decide that for yourself. So we just continue round and around. And it might take, you might be happy with 2 times round. You might be happy with 3 times round. I'm going to do just 1 time round now for the tutorial because Miles is like not having a very good day today. That's a lie. He was good he was all right in the morning. And then in the afternoon, went a bit sideways. Let's just say that. So David's taking him out for a bit. We'll see what happens. But I want to make sure that you actually see what to do for the second part, like the trimming part, before, if he comes back like in a rage. Ow! That didn't feel good. Don't do what I just did. Watch where your needle's going. He's a brand new human, it's allowed. Yes, exactly. But just want to make sure that you guys get to see the whole part of it. And then I'll add the other rows later. Oh, that did not feel good. Yeah, we're trying to get him used to his stroller because he didn't like the basket on the stroller, the carry cot thing. So we changed it and we just have it like, instead of like a seat like this, like a toddler would sit in, we have it like reclined and like pretty much flat. And he likes it better, like 1,000 times better, but he still gets to be about like 7 minutes and he's like, okay, I hate it now. Get me out of here. Thanks. So we're trying like a little bit each day to get him used to it. Okay, I'll stop talking about Miles because that's not why you came here. Okay. So we're going around. Please be careful around your wagon wheels because you really don't want to snag them and then have to redo them, especially since we did them first. This is the part that's a bit boring because it's the same pattern over and over and over and to fill it in. Now, when you go to do your second row, you can either just continue doing it the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like not stop and just continue going around in a circle until you get to the beginning and then do another circle. Or you can actually completely stop it and start again if that makes you, like feel better. I've cut myself. I should put a Band-Aid on it. I have them right there because if I get blood on this, I'm going to be so mad. And you get blood on your project and you're like, darn. Just ruins it, doesn't it? Just ruins your day. Okay, then let's just turn it a little bit more here. I do have some Band-Aids here, so I am just going to push one, see if I have any small ones left. God, I only have massive ones. It's happening, though. It's only a little bit, but it's going to really, really grind my gears if I get this on my project. Grind my gears. Okay, back. Nam says he slammed his thumb into a needle earlier when he was stitching something. It wasn't even the other way around. The needle was still. Oh my gosh. Don't you just hate that? It's just like, why? Why did I have to do that? Why? What was the reason? Like, that's not even helping anyone. Just being clumsy. Like I said, I only had massive ones, so it'll stop in a minute, but I actually don't have anything to like wipe it off on, if you know what I mean, to just continue going. So, okay, so we're almost at the very beginning. To stop, I don't even do a knot. I just pull it up. I poke myself almost every time I stitch. Oh my gosh. I don't poke myself every time, but it's a much higher number than you would think, considering I've been doing this for so many years. You would think that I would know how to use a needle, and you would think that I wouldn't be so scared of blood tests and stuff, since I literally poke my needle like poke myself with my needle so many times. But yeah. I never get like used to it, if you know what I mean. I'm always like, oh, sugar. For the kids, okay? Walking through town and the hills are covered in a layer of fog. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I bet you that's beautiful. It said it was supposed to rain all day today. Like, I kept checking because, like I said, we're trying to get Miles used to the stroller. So I thought, oh, I'll just take him for a little walk and he'll have such a good time that he won't even be, like, upset about it anymore, you know? But I kept saying it was going to rain. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go out because I'm not going to be stuck in the rain. And then he's really going to hate it. Okay, so I'm just going to end it. Not the video, just this little stitch. Putting it right over down like that. I kind of ran out of space, so I had to make this last one really, really, really small. Yeah, and then up where I came up before, and then we're going to snip that off. So this is what you're left with, okay? It looks a bit wild right now, but don't let it scare you. I'm just looking for my smaller sharp scissors because I have some massive ones here. Oh, here's some. Okay. Ooh, Shelly says, I was flying home yesterday and stitching on the plane. I poked myself. My husband laughed and he said, you poked yourself, didn't you? Yep. Oh, God. Isn't that just... Oh. Dem says, you'll probably get that in an hour or two. He said that. He had 10 minutes of drizzle, heavy, heavy rain. Oh, sorry. 10 minutes of heavy, heavy rain, and now it's just drizzling. Ugh. It looks, to be fair, it looks like it's going to rain. Like, it does look like it. So what you're going to do now is snip all of these loops. Now, you can totally see that when you snip them, you get all these little things like that. And what I was trying to say is you can totally see how more layers of this will give you more fringe. So it will give you like a thicker, like more lush looking flower instead of having like 2 every little bit. You can also see that the closer that you put them together and the closer that you make these little stitches here, yeah, the more loops that you're going to get. So the more fringe you're going to get. Okay? So really take your time with this and you can pack it in like a lot. And don't worry about these stitches here because we're actually going to cover those up. If you do 2 rows or 3 rows, then they'll be covered up. The back ones will be covered up. You know, you only see like the one in the front. I'm trying to gather like as many as I can and cut them. Okay, so this is what you're left with. It kind of looks like who's that girl on Rugrats? Angela? Was that her name? With that crazy, crazy hair. Okay, so this is where you need to be a little bit careful again, because like I said, we're going to actually brush these out. So if you've got one of these little spoolies, you can do that. I like to start at the very, very end and then slowly work my way down to the beginning. You can also take a comb like this. Angelica, maybe that was her name. Do you know what I'm talking about? With like her like ratty looking hair. So should the petals be filled in first before you start the turkey stitch? No. So the petals are the other option. So if you want to, you can do the turkey stitch. And this is going to make, by the time you go around and fill in this entire, not loop, circle, hoop here, where the green lines are that I did at the beginning of the video. By the time you fill that in, you're going to get a ton of these. And it's going to fill in. There's no, it was Angelica's doll, Cynthia. That's what it was. I remember. That brought back a little memory for me there. So once you fill in this whole thing, I'm just doing one loop around so you can see the entire tutorial, because obviously baby's not having a good day. So not that I have to be quick, but I just want to try and make sure that I get it all in before he comes back and is like, "Meh, I hate everything." Okay, so you're going to brush these out like this. And obviously you want to try and get real close down to the bottom. Now, if you have time to, you can take each of these 6 strands out before you even start. So you take 1 strand, like I showed you at the very first video, day 1, you take 1 strand out, 2 strands out, 3, 4, 5, 6. You take all those strands and put them back together and they will be untwisted. So what I'm doing here with the comb, yeah, is untwisting my thread. So you can do that at the very beginning if you want to. Sometimes it makes the thread a little bit more difficult to work with, and that's why I didn't tell you at the beginning. Because sometimes it just makes more problems for you when you have 6 individual strands and you have to pull all of them nice and tight each time. So like weigh up the pros and cons, you know what I mean? So you'll have filled this whole thing in, maybe 2 or 3 circles goes around. It'll be nice and lush. So now we're just combing them out. A la 1992, 1994 Barbies, you know? Here's where you need to be really careful around these woven wagon wheels. Do not snag them. I'm telling you, you will have a bad time if you do. We're just untangling them. If you don't have a comb, you can use the eye of your needle. I know I said that at the beginning, but it looks exactly the same. You're just going to put your fingers like this and put the eye of your needle and untwist each of these. So it takes a little bit longer. Yeah. Because you have to really like separate them and twist them and stuff. Okay, let me just do this real quick. I'm just trying to give like as many options as you can. Now, if you're already like, I do not want to do this, this is not something for me, then just use the satin stitch that we learned earlier. You can use just the parallel satin stitch like on these yellow ones. And you can fill them in with that. It will look beautiful as well. Okay. Now you're going to do the exact same thing for the other ones, the other two flowers that look like this. With the turkey work, or you can do the satin stitch on the smaller flowers and just leave one big turkey work flower in the middle. So it just depends on what you would like to do and how you want it to look. Also, all the videos are up on YouTube. Actually, day 9 and 10, they got paused for some reason on Friday when I was uploading them. And so I just went to check before this morning, before the live. Okay, so that's a little bit too long, obviously. I really want those other scissors because they are much sharper than even these small ones. Yeah, there we go. These are the good ones. Okay, so what we're going to do here is pull these up like this. Do our little haircut. And you can cut it. Any tips for knotting the back and not pulling the loops? What do you mean? There should be no knots on the back at all. Knotting the back and not pulling the loops. Let's just trim this really quickly. Sorry, I'm just going to take it off and snip it. Can you see what I'm doing? When you run out of thread and have to change colors, well, you don't have to knot the back because you're actually going to end at the top like we began at the top. So if you run out of thread, then you just leave it hanging out the top. Like how I ended it and started it, there's no knots on the back at all. So we're not knotting. Even if you run out of thread, we're not knotting. So if you have to change colors, then you just end it at the top here. Yeah. So you go down first, then over, and then up. And instead of doing your loop, you just leave it up and snip it off. Does that help? Does that make sense? I'm leaving mine quite long because I don't want to cut too much, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to cut like loads on one side and then like not enough on the other side, if you know what I mean. Much better, those ones. Okay, now the other thing you can do is do a different color for every single time you go around. So I did one time around with this kind of corally color, this one, You can change colors and go around again with a different color, and you'll actually get like an ombre effect kind of, sorry, I elbowed the camera. An ombre effect kind of flower. Okay, so I've only trimmed off a very, very, very little amount. That's what it looks like. Obviously, it needs to be shorter. The other way that you can trim it actually is putting your comb through like that and then snipping off the top. Okay. Have we got any questions about this so far? I just want to make it short so you can see how short. How many times should we plan to spiral? Okay, so I've said it already. You've got either two or three, and it depends on how many times around that you would like to go. So I've said fill in this hoop right here, this ring. I'm not going to show how to get started again, but you can, when the video is finished, you can go back to the beginning and watch it again, or you can wait until it goes up on YouTube. So we're just trimming the top right now. I feel like I'm doing what I told you not to do, and that's do one side a little bit too short and the other side really long. These are gonna look so good, I can already tell. I can already tell. This side still needs to be shorter. I don't know why I'm so scared to like cut over on this side. I think because the woven wagon wheels are there, and I'm afraid I'm gonna snip one of the threads, and then I'll really have a problem trying to be nice. Same mouse, same. How did I miss the beginning? Oh, sorry guys. It might be, if you do the little 3 dots on my profile and put like alert me when it's posted or whatever, alert me when I've been, get alerts or something like that it is. I don't know, I haven't done it before. I'll figure it out what the wording is after this. Missed one. Okay, so imagine, if we go around and fill up this whole ring in there, it'll be nice and thick and lush. You can do that with one color. You can do it with 2 colors or 3 colors. You can get as crazy as you want to with this. Let me just put this up so you don't have to see my pajamas, because I'm in my pajamas. Don't tell me how to live my life, okay? So we've got this one here. And like I said at the beginning as well, if you already know you don't want to do this, then just fill it with a satin stitch. You can also do the fringe flower in the middle and then do these 2 other ones as just a satin stitch if you feel like actually that's not for me, I can't do 3. Or maybe you feel like it's too small, or maybe you just feel like you can't be bothered. It's all valid, okay? However you feel, it's your hoop. Do what you want to do, all right? So yeah, there it is. There's what we've got so far. I have a little bit to catch up on. I've got to do the leaves. I've got to finish this fringe flower here, and then the fringe on these ones, or satin stitch on these ones. And then on details day, I'm going to show you how to do these other 3 ones. And then hopefully it'll all be done by Friday. Yee! So exciting. So I can't wait to see how you do with these ones. Don't forget to tag me at the Barmy Fox. Use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL. And make sure you go to the hashtag, give it a little scroll, like and comment on a couple people's hoops. I'm telling you, it means the world. And yeah, connect. You're not doing this by yourself. There's a bunch of us who are doing it together, and that's the whole point. So I cannot wait to see how you guys do. I hope you have a lovely Monday, and I'll speak with you tomorrow. Bye.